Hey, peace, 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 love, harmony, and light. Let me make sure I have audio. All right. Give me a second. Testing. Peace, peace. All right. Peace. Audio is good. Love, harmony, and light. All right. Let me make sure I have audio. Give me a second, guys. Let me just give me a second. Testing. Peace, peace. All right. Peace. Audio is good. Love, harmony, and light. All right. Let me make sure I have audio. Give me a. All right. Cool. Just wanted to turn this down in the background. All right, giving some people some time to chime into this live feed. We're about to get into a little build. I know it's been a minute, and I'm still around, man. Just doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Like I tell people, it's okay to talk, but it's one thing to teach people information, and it's one thing to have the knowledge. I always say knowledge is power. But in my opinion, what's more powerful than having the knowledge is the application of the knowledge, the implementation of the knowledge. So I'm spending a lot of times, behind the scenes doing a lot of work. However, I feel it's imperative to, come once in a while, just to come out, once in a while, take short breaks, to come and show some love, drop some more information. And by no means I'm here to convince anybody of who they are or who they are not. I think there's enough videos of people already doing that. All right. I'm not here to debate or argue who was here first, who was here last. I'm not here for that. I'm just here to give you some facts, give you some information. And my thing is, what is the solution? All right. Yes, we know that we were here first. All right. There's substantial evidence that we were here first, whether it may be archaeological evidence, whether it may be oral evidence from our ancestors, our elders. Yes, definitely we have been on this American continent. When I say we, I'm talking about the so-called Negro, the so-called Black people, the so-called African Americans. We have been on this continent called the Americas from time immemorial. However, a lot of people have been emailing me, and they lost, they're a little stuck. Well, Chief, I've been doing a lot of research, and I know that my grandmother, my grandfather said this and that. Now I need to know what to do, where to go. And that's where a lot of people are getting caught. All right. In the mix of trying to get into their indigenous standing, they are having problems moving forward. And they are running into a lot of people who are taking advantage of that situation. So I'm here to put some things in perspective. But before I even start the lesson or the build, I would like to give thanks to the Great Spirit just for giving me, excellent, physical wealth, the mental fortitude, the spiritual awareness as to who I am, and just rising every day like the sun, and I'm in honor. I'm in favor. You're right. I'm in favor with my ancestors because they are doing so much for me. They're providing so much for me, and it's amazing. I wouldn't change my life for anything right now. I'm in such a great space, and it's because of the awareness and the mental clarity, okay, and the ability to be able to communicate with my ancestors, communicate with the higher, the source, feel that presence, and manifest in that realm. All right, so it's a beautiful thing. So I just want to give honor and praise to the Great Spirit, my ancestors, man, those that I know or I knew, and those that I haven't met physically, but I could feel their presence. And I honor each and every one of them, regardless of what part of the earth that they are from. I honor them and I respect them. And I want to thank them for, again, putting me in grace, in honor, and I'm highly favored. All right, so with that being said, I want to proceed. And let's get into this build, man. Let me see how many people we have here so far. All right. Yes, 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 man. Okay, I see we have a few people here, man. It's a beautiful thing. Peace and love to all the gods. You know what I'm saying? Peace and love to each and every one of y'all. So, brothers and sisters, I'm gonna just get right to the point. Like I said, it's been a minute, and I'm always thinking of you guys constantly. But it's I'm gonna reiterate. It's imperative to take some time to yourself. always, because doing these videos, it takes a lot of energy. It really does. And then you have so many different energies that's either coming to alive to take information or to come with a negative spirit. And you could feel the vibe. I could tell and I could feel when there's a platform of just people with just positive energy. And when one or two come in the mix, you could feel the difference or the shift in the energy change. So, man, I just want to give thanks to each and every one of you who continue to stay positive and realize that we are living in a beautiful time, but yet still we are living in a troubled time. You know what I mean? So it depends on how you perceive it. I was talking to a brother earlier, and he was saying something to the effect of, it's sad that a lot of our people, are going to suffer. And I'm like, you know what? It is what it is. Not that I'm saying it's okay for them to suffer, but what I'm saying is this, all right? Now, he was saying that, let me digress a bit. He was saying that, it seems like we are running out of time. And I had to let him know that we are not running out of time. As a matter of fact, we are right on time. You feel me? We are right on time. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. Life is going to go on regardless. And things are going to manifest regardless. You see, this script has already been written. And all we are doing is we are just stepping into the role. Okay, we are just stepping into a play and we have to play our role. So we are all actors in this big movie called life. And it's going to happen whether you are here or not. All right, that is a fact. So with that being said, we are always on time. We are always on time. The question is, wherever you are at in your life, whatever is happening or whatever is manifesting, that's what you will experience. So for those of us who are aware of who we are and stepping up and correcting our indigenous standing, then we will not deal with the persecution of those who are still lost. And that is a fact. Okay, there are laws in the universe, okay, that have to be respected. There are galactic contracts and laws and treaties and covenants that cannot be broken. So therefore, once again, to reiterate, those of us who are stepping into the realm of who we truly are, then a place will be set for us where a safety net will be safe for us. We are going to be okay. But yet still, we may have to stand by and look at a lot of our friends and families perish because they lack the knowledge. And even if they have the knowledge, they refused, okay, to do anything to save themselves. So the truth of the matter is we are right on time. We are right on time, okay? But you will only experience what you prepare yourself for. I hope that makes sense. All right. So I'm going to start off first. I actually did a list of topics that I'm going to run through. Now, if you look in the link below, everything for the most part in terms of the topics, they are in the link below. So you have the option to click on it now or click on it later. All right. But that information is in the link below. The first thing we're going to talk about is, once again, let me just make this very clear. All right. I am not here to convince anybody of who you are not or who you are. I'm just going to drop some facts and then you determine what you want to do with those facts. All right. Now, for the most part, I tell folks like this. When we look at history, it's just so many stories that have been told. And our people, and when I say our people, I'm talking about the people in the American continent. We never called ourselves Africans, and I have to make my disclaimer. I have nothing against Africans because I'm certainly sure at some point we all have ancestors over all the earth because people was just intermingling. I mean, we have been on this earth for millions of years. Don't you think at some point that the people in the Americas, they dealt with people in Africa, that they dealt with people in Europe or Asia? Of course they did. So with that being said, I think that we are all related. However, we are related by means of people mingling and not a relation by us being in one particular landmass and everybody dispersed from that landmass. That's a theory that's been debunked a million times. And that doesn't resonate with my spirit. So therefore, I know it's not true. It's a fallacy. All right? But with that being said, our people did not call themselves Africans before the movie Roots. So we have to put the movie Roots into context. Okay? For one, what was the purpose of the movie Roots? Now, I'm going to give you my own opinion. You feel me? During the height of colonization, from day one, the whole goal was to come to this landmass, the Americas, and take over. All right, that was what it was all about. Take over the Americas. All right. Now, our ancestors fought. Don't let nobody fool you. All the wars that have been fought in the Americas was between the Indians, or the people they call the Indians, and whether it may have been the British, the French, the Portuguese, man, basically all the wars that was fought on this landmass, it was all about the indigenous people against colonizers. Our ancestors fought to the teeth and nail. Don't let nobody fool you. Okay, we were not slaves. All right, that came from another landmass. Yes, some of us were enslaved, but we were not slave. And I'm gonna again I'm gonna go into more detail with that. So let us look at the movie Roots. For one, Alex Haley was sued. All right, Alex Haley was sued. Now I'm gonna look at the name of the character, Kunta Kinte, and let us just go do a quick Google search to see what Kunta Kinte means. All right, because brothers and sisters, everything is in the language. Now I'm going to expose you to something that you may or may not have known. But I'm going to assume that the majority of you guys didn't know this, and therefore I felt it, important or imperative to do this build today, because a lot of people, yes, are becoming aware, but they are still in between. It's like I have 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that's not a bad place to be in. At least you know something is wrong. So now you are stepping out of the old ideologies and you are stepping into a new paradigm. But doing that, you want to make sure that you have the right or the correct information. So for me, that's what I'm doing. Giving you information that you could fact check. All right? Don't believe me. Do your own research. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at Kunta Kinte. All right, let me share my screen, guys. Share the screen. Share screen. Okay. Let us go to Google real quick. All right. Kunta Kinte. Let's just put in the word Kunta Kinte. I'm going to assume you guys could see the screen. Okay. Kunta Kinte. Oh, all right. Kunta Kinte. All right. Kunta Kinte. All right. Now, let us look at Kunta Kinte. What does it say? Kunta Kinte, I'm reading towards the right here, okay? The right side in Wikipedia, all right? Kunta Kinte is a character in the novel Roots, the saga of an American family by an author, Alex Haley. Haley claimed that Kunta Kinte was based on one of his ancestors. Now, you have to look at the wording. Everything is in the wording. Let us look at Kunta Kinte is what? A character. Okay? A character. And what did Alex Haley do? He claimed that Kunta Kinte was based. He made a claim. Also, it's a character. Now, I hope that's sinking in. Kunta Kinte is a character in a novel, Roots, the saga of an American family by American author Alex Haley. Haley claimed that Kunta Kinte was based on one of his ancestors. All right. Now, This is what we're going to do. How many of y'all knew that Kunta was a Choctaw word? All right, this is a question that I'm asking, and I'm going to stop sharing the screen right now. Let me see how many people actually knew this. All right, we're going to put some things in perspective today. How many of y'all knew that Kunta was a Choctaw word? Let me see if I could, get some interaction here in the chat. How many of y'all knew this? That Kunta was a Choctaw word. Okay? And I'm going to show you guys exactly what it means. And also Kinte or Kente, which is another variation of that, okay, is also a Choctaw word. So when you start putting things into perspective, you will realize that, man, they were telling us something. They were telling us something. So his name was Kunta Kente, right? Or he said that, you know what? I can't remember exactly how the narrative went. But however, I think they was trying to call him Toby, or his name was Toby, and they wanted to call him Kunta. And he said, no, my name is Toby. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's what it was, right? Can anybody verify that for me? That he was Toby, but they wanted to call him Kunta. Am I right or wrong? I'm just looking for some confirmation because I want to make sure that the narrative that I'm bringing, it's truthful and it makes sense. I think his name was Toby, and they was trying to call him Kunta Kente. Can anybody remember the movie and confirm that for me, please? Okay, so somebody said I'm wrong about that. So was it the other way around? Was his name Kunta Kente and they wanted to call him Toby? All right, he was originally, all right, launched. Okay, he was originally launched Kinte. All right. I can't remember the movie exactly, right? It's the reverse. All right. It was reversed. All right. So yeah, his slave name was Toby. All right, there you go. That's what I wanted to know. So his slave name was Toby, and they was trying to get his name to be Kunta Kente. Now, brothers and sisters, this is what I want you to think about right now. So when I show you the meaning of Kunta Kente, now you would probably see why Toby, the African, didn't want to be Kunta Kente, because Kunta Kente was an American Aborigine name. So basically, that, and again, that is just my own opinion of looking at the movie or the narrative of the movie and putting it in perspective. Okay? So here we are, Toby, an African slave. They're trying to call him another name, which is literally a Choctaw word. And he said, no, my name is Toby. In other words, the man, Alex Haley, was probably trying to tell you, you have to look at those things. When people are writing screenplays, the allegory, or in books, the allegory, the satire, you have to look from different perspectives. Look at the mind of the author. So Toby knew that he wasn't an American Indian. So he didn't want to be called Kunta Kente, because that's a Choctaw word. So he was making the point, yes, you got me here with these Negroes, but I am not one of them. I don't want to be considered an American Indian. You feel me? You have to go deeper into the narrative to really let it make sense for you and not for anybody else. Well, somebody say I'm still saying it wrong. Well, I don't think I'm saying it wrong, because his African slave name was Toby, and they were forcing him to say Kunta. So I know that's a fact, and that's the narrative that I'm going to look at it from. All right? So let us look at that. Let us go look at that word. Yeah. Okay, all right, so thank you. So, all right, so there we go. I got confirmation on that, all right? So that Alexandria Ellis, you said that I was saying it wrong. You're probably right, all right? So if I say that you are wrong, my mistake, forgive me for this. So Kunta Kente was his original name, and they wanted to give him the slave name. They wanted to give him the slave name Toby. Now, I think that's correct, all right? So here you go. He knew that Kunta Kente, once again, was his name, right? And they wanted to give him the slave name Toby. So let us go look at the definition, or the Choctaw word Kunta, and let's put this into perspective. All right. Thanks to my brother for clarifying that for me. All right. There you go. So let us go look at this. Let me share my screen again. All right. Share screen. Share screen. And I have all that stuff in the link below so you guys can check it out. Let us go look. This is a book, all right? It's a dictionary of the Choctaw language. And I'm going to assume you guys could see this, all right? Let me just make this a little bigger. And we're going to look at that. That book is also, I put it in the link below for you guys, all right? Just so you guys can have some reference. Let us go look at the word kunta. Kunta. Let us go look at that word. All right? So once we start looking at these things, you'll realize that it was actually an American Aborigine that they were beaten, an Indian. They were beating an Indian to force him to say that he was a slave. And he wasn't going for that. Okay, so here we go. Let us look at, so EFGHIJK. Let us look at Kunta. Give me a second here, guys, while this thing load up. All righty. Okay. All right. HIJK. All right, we had I right here. Let's get down to K. All right, so here we are in the K's. All right, first we're gonna look at kinte. Now it's the variation of the spelling is slightly different, but when you look at kunta, it will make sense. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. So here we go. HIJK. Go up a little bit more. Bear with me here, guys. The amount of time it's taken is beyond my control, so I guess we just I'm just gonna go with the flow with this. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It's HIJK. And you know what? I could have actually gone and put that in place before I actually spoke about it. But I just wanted you guys to see that it's an actual Choctaw dictionary with words from A to Z. So but for time's sake, I should have probably done that. So my bad on that. So please bear with me while I pull this up. All right, so you know what? Let me just do it this way. This might take a little longer, but it's okay. So once again, thanks for the correction. Okay, his name was actually Kunta Kinte. However, they wanted to beat that out of him and call him Toby. So now the movie will make sense. And you would see that the same thing they were trying to do. They beat the Indian out of our ancestors. They literally beat the Indian out of them and gave them different names because Indian was actually a race that was put on birth certificates. And then when they went to the hospital, if they wanted to put their children nationality or race as Indian, they would tell them that if they try to do it, they would take their children and put them in jail. So it was illegal for them to give their children Indian names. So now the movie Roots will make sense to you. Okay, it will make sense. I hope it will make a little more sense. All right. Come on, man. I'm all the way on KA right now. All right, come on. It's okay. You're going to get there, Chief. You're going to get there. Stress it. So for those of you who want to actually learn some Choctaw words, The dictionary is in the link below. So, hey, check it out. All right. All right, we're getting there. All right, cool. We almost there. We almost there. All right, we coming up. We almost there, guys. We almost there. K-I-N-T. Okay, so let us look at a variation of the spelling of the word right here. Let me just make that a little bigger. So here we go. I hope you guys could see this. All right, and you could go check it out for yourself. It's in the link below. All right, so now we have the word quinta right here, or quinte right here. And the word that means beaver. Okay, beaver. I hope you guys could see the highlighting of the word right here, beaver. Quinta, okay? So it's kunta quinte or kunta quinta, all right? Is a different variation of the word, all right? It's what? A beaver. A beaver. Now let us go look at quinte. I mean kunta. We just look at quinte. Let us look at kunta. And when you put the two together, you will see what it means. So we have quinte or quinta, all right? Kunta quinte or quinta means beaver. Let us look at kunta now, and then we'll put the two together. Come on, man. No, I'm gonna look for kunta. All right, and you could do this on your own. All right, the dictionary is in the link below. And we're gonna put this together, man. We're gonna make some sense out of nonsense today. All right. Don't get impatient with me, guys. Give me a second here. I know you guys on the chat doing your thing like you always do, so I appreciate that. Because the thing is with some of these PDFs, when they have so many pages, it takes some time to actually go through the pages. Okay. All those are Choctaw words. So for a lot of you who actually you've been asking, well, hey, Chief, you know what? I'm trying to give myself an indigenous name, but I don't know how to go about it. Then here you go. You have see if some of your family's Choctaw or whatever, and use some of the words in one of your names, in one of your indigenous names. I think that's cool. We're coming up, Kunta, right? Kunta, right? There we go. Okay. Now look, pay attention to this, guys. Look, Kunta. Here's the word. It's a whistler. A whistler. Okay. Kunta is a whistler. In Choctaw, the word kunta means a whistler. Right here. I'm going to highlight it for you. Whistling. So now when you put kunta kente together, you have a whistler or a whistling beaver. Okay? A whistler or a whistling beaver. Go look it up yourself. Kunta kente in the Choctaw dictionary. So therefore, Kunta kente was an American Indian. He knew he was an American Indian. And his name meant the whistling beaver or a whistling beaver. But they wanted to beat the Indian out of him and call him Toby. And Toby is an African name. It's the same thing they did to our ancestors. So Alex Haley was subliminally telling us what happened in the movies. But of course, they never come out and tell you it was a subliminal message. Okay, it was a subliminal message. So now people perceived the movie or interpreted the movie as the movie teaching us that we all came from Africa. When the truth of the matter is Toby, the character, is telling you, no, I am an American Indian. I am Choctaw, and my name means a whistling beaver. Don't call me Toby. Go look it up yourself. All right, go look it up yourself, man. I'm thankful. I finally got that out. Okay, I finally got that out. All right, so here you go. Again, putting this into perspective. You feel me? So let us look at the movie with a different mindset, knowing that we are the aborigines of this land, knowing that we are the ones they call the American Indians. Now you could look at the movie and see things that you hadn't seen before. Okay? Now that we know Kunta Kinte is not an African name, now that we know Toby, the man they called Toby, was actually Choctaw, and he knew he was Choctaw, and they beat him almost to death to give up the Indian name Kunta Kinte so that he could be called Toby, an African. You feel me? And that isn't that the same thing they did to our ancestors? Go look up the records. When our ancestors wanted to give our children Indian names, they say no. It's either you're going to lose your children or you're going to go to jail or you give them a different name. And what they had to do, they had to give us different names opposed to our indigenous names. At one point, we had Indian as a race on our birth certificates. And because of Walter Plecker and the likes, okay, eugenics, they made it illegal for us to put Indian, okay, on birth certificates, or else they would have taken your children. So my brothers and sisters, open up your mind. Open up your mind. Once again, I'm not here to convince you of who you are or who you are not. I just want to show you the facts, and you determine what you need to do. Okay? You determine what you need to do to claim your identity. The reason why they have to put us out of our identity or who we are is because of our homeland. The Americas is the most fertile land on the planet. We, the American Aborigines, were the most spiritual people on the planet. When these other peoples had religions, we didn't have religions. We dealt with spirituality. And that's a fact. Okay? They had organized religions because they were indoctrinated way before us. Okay? They brought their slavery system here. We were just children of the wild, children of the wilderness, running around in trees, literally butt-ass naked. And that's a fact. With no worries. In other words, when they came to the Americas, they saw the Garden of Eden, men and women walking around with little pieces of cloth or leaves covering their loins. And some of the women just have little things covering their breasts or literally walking around with their breasts exposed. And we were picking fruits from trees, walking on gold, the streets of gold. Now, let me ask you a question. You see, you have to ask yourself those questions. If Africa is the land of origin and Africa is the land that have all the minerals and all the wealth in the world, why would they take slaves from Africa and bring them to America opposed to taking the slaves from America to go to Africa to work? Because Africa have all the minerals and all the riches. I'll wait. I'll wait. Or maybe I need to ask the same question again. If the narrative that they told us that life originated in Africa and Africa have all the riches, why wasn't the situation reversed where they took all the people from the Americas and took them to Africa to go work the land because that's where all the riches were? Why would they take slaves from Africa and bring them here to come to a place that had no riches at all? I'll wait. You know why nobody could answer that question for me? It's because Africa wasn't the most fertile ground. Africa wasn't the richest place on the planet. It was right here in the Americas, and they raped us dry. And guess who raped us dry? Guess who first started it off? Our African brothers and sisters. They were our ancient enemies. Yes, that's right. Y'all heard it from Chief Kalinago. They were our ancient enemies. That's why a lot of Africans don't like us. And that's a fact. Because they know, a lot of them know of the histories. But you know what? We're going to put this in perspective today. Like I tell people, for me, it's facts over feelings. All right? I'm here to drop the information for you. And whether you want to get into your feelings or not, that's on you. I'm giving you the facts. So once again, Kunta Kente is a Choctaw, two Choctaw words. One that means Kunta means a whistler or whistling, and Kinte or Kinta means beaver. So now he knew he was Choctaw, and his name meant a whistling beaver. And they beat that out of him so he could call himself an African, when he knew damn well he wasn't an African. There goes the synopsis or the summary of roots. Go tell them Chief Kalinago said so. All right. So we spoke about roots. Now, another thing we're going to talk about is corn. You see, we have to look at the facts. Let's look at the facts. Let's look at corn. Okay. We're going to look at corn. I'm going to share my screen again. Let's look at corn. Corn, the crop, just so you know, okay? C-O-R-N, corn. Let us get into this. We just getting started. I'm going to share my screen again. All right? Let us look at the story of corn, and let us put some more things in perspective. Okay, I'm going to assume you guys can see this screen, and I just put that in the link below. Okay, now this is for students. This is a website called www.campsailors.org. And the link is below. All right. Now let's look at the history of corn. In the beginning, corn as we know it today would not exist if it weren't for the humans that cultivated and developed it. It is a human invention, a plant that does not exist naturally in the wild. It can only survive if planted and protected by humans. Scientists believe people living in central Mexico developed corn at least 7,000 years ago. It was started from a wild grass called teosinte. Teosinte looks very different from our corn today. The kernels were small and were not placed close together like kernels on the husk ear of the modern corn. Although known as maize, Indians throughout North and South America eventually depended upon this crop for much of their food. So therefore, guess what? We invented corn. From the Mexico maize spread north into the southwestern United States and south down to the coast of Peru about 1,000 years ago, and Indian people migrated north to the eastern woodlands of present-day North America. They brought corn with them. Okay, corn. So our ancestors invented corn. We created corn. And the only way it was able to grow, it had to be protected. So we created a food, a staple called corn for ourselves over 7,000 years ago. Now, we cannot give the Caucasian man credit for corn because it wasn't more than 300 years. The Caucasian man was still on all fours. Okay? They couldn't read, they couldn't write, they couldn't wipe their butts. They were literally illiterate, eating each other. They were cannibals. And so literally, the Caucasian man has only been on his 2 feet for less than 500 years. You feel me? So if over 7,000 years ago, that corn was in the Americas and we created corn, here's something very interesting that I'm going to show you. Keep that in mind. Let us go to the Bible. And once again, when I use the Bible, I'm using the Bible just for a study guide. Not because I believe the Bible, means that a sky daddy is coming to save us. No, you have to see the Bible for what it is. It is a book of laws. It's a trust, and it has information that you could use to, again, use for research or teaching purposes. All right. It is not a book that's going to save you. So I want to make my disclaimer. Let us go to the Bible real quick. Genesis. Genesis. Okay? Genesis 42. That's the King James Version. Now, when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do ye look upon another? And verse 2, and he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither and buy for us from whence, that we may live and not die. And Jacob 10 brethren went down to buy corn into Egypt. My brothers and sisters, let me come back to the live again, because y'all think Chief playing today. I ain't playing. Let me come back to let me come back here for a second. Now, did you guys just realize what I just read to you? I want to know if my people are actually with me right now. That's what I want to know. I want to know if you're with me right now, because I've just broken down the whole Kunta Kinte movie in just, well, it took a little while to go through the dictionary, but in 2 words, basically showed you exactly what the whole movie means. Okay? An American Aborigine being beaten to death so that he could be called an African. So that is the end of roots right there. Okay? The end of roots. Telling you straight up, we ain't Africans. Number 2, corn has been in the Americas for over 7,000 years. Now, why is Jacob talking to his sons in the Bible about getting corn, going down into Egypt to get corn? Wasn't I the one telling y'all from the very get-go that America was the first Egypt? Everybody thought I was crazy. Wasn't I the one telling you guys from the very beginning that we were Indians and everybody thought I was crazy? Look at now, everybody talking about it. Now, I'm not looking for credit. I'm not saying I'm looking for credit. I just want you to know that I am one of the pioneers in this. Okay? So I'm showing y'all the facts. Yes, we do have a Memphis here. Okay? So if corn originated here, and it was over 7,000 years ago, and Jesus only existed 2,000 years ago, therefore what? Corn existed way before Jesus. Now, let us go look at Abraham. Didn't they say that Abraham, what? How many? 5,000 years ago? So therefore, we are not Abraham. We didn't descend from the how is it called? I think Abrahamic or Abrahamic, whatever it's called. That's not our bloodline. In other words, we are not those people, those Israelites that they say we are. That's not us. That's them. And I could prove it in the Bible again, because in the Bible, in Deuteronomy, it told them what? You will be taken from your land and go into another land for 400 years. So therefore, if you came here as a slave on a ship for 400 years, what does that mean? You Israelites are not aborigines of the Americas. So we are not from the tribes of Israel. So y'all better recognize, man. Once again, facts over feelings. I'm dropping facts. I'm dropping facts. And all that is in the link below. Okay? Corn was in the beginning of the Bible from day 1. So they've been telling the story of 2 continents. Okay? 2 sisters' children. A version of Cain and Abel. A version of Jacob and Esau. A version of Adam and Eve. All those are allegories. They're all allegories. They mean something else. Jacob told his sons, go down into Egypt. Go see these Americans. They got corn. Because they're starving us here in Africa. We are being starved. We cannot grow food. There's farming. Africa has always been a wasteland. Okay? Because they were the ones who created evil. Yes, Chief Kalinago said it. They were the ones who created the lighter races, not us. And they brought them here. Okay? We was just in nature, pure, living life off of the land. The Garden of Eden, that's where it's at. Oh, that's where it was, right here in the Americas. Why do you think they spend so much time? Okay? taking us out of our element because they don't want us to know who we are. They don't want us to know who we are. Let us proceed. So I spoke about the corn and I spoke about the Bible. Now let us go talk about Jean-Baptiste Leonard Durant. And I have that link I have all that in the link below so you could do your own independent research. All right. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. Share the screen again. Share. All right. Let us go. I think we did. All right. We did the Kunta Kinte. We did the story of corn. We did Genesis. And now we're going to look at a voyage. Okay. A voyage. The book is called A Voyage to Senegal. And I'm going to page 89. And that was in 1802. Once again. And it reads, I shall add, and this is who's saying that, okay? I'm Jean-Baptiste Leonard Durand. Based on the name, I'm assuming that he's French. I shall add another reflection of public utility. The blacks are the kind of men destined by nature to inhabit Africa and America. She has created them for Berlin regions. So I tell people, dark skin doesn't constitute, or Africa doesn't constitute for all dark skinned people. You feel me? It's like from the moment somebody see that you're dark skinned, the first thing they think about, you're an African. It's like Africa is the only place that could create dark skinned people. My people, wake up and open up your minds, man. The color of your skin ain't got nothing to do with Africa. You feel me? The equator runs straight across the earth. All right, not just in Africa. The equator runs between the borderline of South America and Africa. So here's the truth. Most of us that's even in the mainland, what you call the United States, we came from South America. And because of the wars and the fighting, we fought so much. But when we couldn't fight so much because the armies were bigger than ours, we started moving more into the mainland, what we now call the United States. Now y'all know. Okay? And we were always south. That's why, because of the wars, most of us moved south into the mainland of America. So when you start doing your research, you realize that most of the Indians were actually in the south because we came from a warm climate in South America. And when they started doing the same thing, pushing us out of the south. We started coming up north towards Jersey, New York, Maryland, Delaware, Boston. So I'm going to read this again. A book by Jean-Baptiste Leonard Durand, A Voyage to Senegal, page 89 in 1802. I shall add another reflection of public utility. The blacks are a kind of men destined. Now let us go, you know what, just for study's sake, let us go look at the definition of destined. Because I tell you, and I've told you before, when you read with understanding. Don't read to finish, but read to comprehend. And that's what we're going to do today. All right? Let us take it back to kindergarten. We're going to look at definition of words. Destined. Let us look at destined. Okay? Destined definition. Destined. All right? What does it say? Of a person's future. Developing a plan certain to meet a particular fate intended or traveling toward. In other words, destined means, and we have synonyms, means heading, bound, in route, schedule. In other words, according to nature's plan. I'm going to read that again. Okay? So let us replace the word destined. Blacks are a kind of men by nature's plan, okay, by nature, to inhabit. Let us look at the definition of inhabit. All right? The definition of inhabit. Inhabit. As a person, animal group, live in or occupy a place or environment. So therefore, the so-called blacks, by nature, that is how nature, okay, that is how nature designed it, by destined. It was destined that the so-called black man was meant by nature to inhabit Africa and the Americas. So my brothers and sisters, now you see the narrative of the Cain and Abel story. We in the Americas symbolize Abel and the allegorical God, okay, acknowledge our sacrifice over our brother Cain, which is the Africans, because God favored us. Because Cain, Africa was jealous of the Americans. The allegory. So they wanted to kill us. They wanted to kill us. Kill the firstborn. Because we were still pure in nature. Okay? We were the children of the wilderness, giving praise and honor to the Most High, the Great Spirit, and everything in nature. While they on the other side, they were more advanced in terms of, you know, having religion, okay, creating systems and governments that was controlling people. They was already doing that, but we were living in harmony. We had a symbiotic relationship in nature. Now it says she has created them for burning regions. So why do everybody think Africa is the only region that has burning regions? I mean, have you lost Negroes ever traveled? Have you been to Brazil? Have you been to South America and realized that some places in South America is even harder than what it is in Africa? Huh? Let us therefore take care not to oppose her views. In other words, let us not oppose nature's views, because it is destined. Because if we fight against nature, we are going to lose. It says, or overthrow the barriers which she has established. So the Caucasian man is saying, let us not oppose nature views. You see, it is intended by nature for the so-called black man to inhabit Africa and America. So let us not oppose nature. Let us not overthrow her barriers that she has established, because they know whenever they fight against nature, they're going to lose. That's why they keep blocking the sun. That's why they keep cutting the trees. That's why they keep chemtrailing, you know, the air and poisoning the water, because they know that by nature, if we step back into our natural habitat, they are going to lose. So they say, but let us preserve their races in their natural purity and not permit the Negro to inhabit Europe. This mixture of black and white is dangerous to our population, and in time it may change, corrupt, and even destroy it. You feel me? Let me come back to the live feed real quick. Now, are you guys with me? I just want to know if you guys are with me. You feel me? Putting all this into perspective, it is two mothers' children, okay? You have a mother. She had two children, two girls, all right? You have the American continent and you have the African continent, okay? It is two mothers' children. One wanted to steal one's birthright and give it to the other. So they wanted to steal our birthright and give it to our African cousins. Isn't that what's still happening today? Isn't that what's still happening today? No other ethnic group, including Africans, what do they come to the Americas for? They come to always take, to improve themselves. You know why? Because we have always done that for the world. We have always done that for the world. We gave the world civilization when our men were out there hunting, when our men was out there in the wilderness, okay, traveling. Our women was home thinking of what? With the children. Oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. And our women created what, you know, agriculture and gave it to the world right here in the Americas, all the way down to Egypt, all the way from the Americas down the Nile into Africa. We gave them civilization, but they're not going to teach you that. I've been telling y'all that for a long time now. So you have to ask yourself those questions that's making sense. If Africa was the motherland and Africa had all the riches, wouldn't be the transatlantic slave trade be the opposite, where they were taking people from here, enslaving them and taking them to Africa because that's where all the work was at? No. They had to take some of them and bring them here because we had all the resources. You feel me? It doesn't take much to figure this out. It really doesn't take much. All right? So we read a little bit from that book. That is in the link below. You could check it out yourself. All right? Now, a lot of people tend, and once again, I am not here to defame, okay, the man, Marcus Garvey, but I'm going to speak on him a little bit. All right? By no means it is here to defame the man. I'm just going to show you some facts, because you'll realize that in our history, there is a lot of men and women who are always going to work on behalf of the colonizers to continue the tradition of taking American Aborigines out of their element. In other words, the continuation of the stealing of our birthright. Okay? And I'll let you be the judge of that, because a lot of people call themselves Pan-Africanists and Marcus Garveyites and all that. Well, the man was a traitor to the American Aborigines. And I'm going to show you some facts. All right? I'm going to show you some facts. So let us continue with this. All right? We have done. Okay, we have done that. Okay, you know what? Well, first, we're not going to do Marcus Garvey just yet. We're going to do William Saunders. William Saunders. And who is William Saunders? We're going to read a little more, and I'm going to share my screen for y'all, because I'm going to touch a little bit of everything today. All right? A little bit of everything, because I haven't given you guys a build in a minute. So I think you deserve this. So we're going to read a little bit about William Saunders Crowley. Let us just see who he is real quick. All right? William Saunders Crowley, August 11th, 1847 to August 4th, 1908, was an American soldier, preacher, entrepreneur, theologian, and pastor, as one of the earliest Hebrew Israelites in the United States. You hear that? As one of the earliest Hebrew Israelites in the United States. Now, brothers and sisters, let us put all this into perspective. Because you see, I don't just talk about things just because I feel like talking. When I speak for a purpose. That's why I don't come and do videos all the time. All right? Now, check this out. If he is one of the earliest Hebrew Israelites, what does that tell you? The insinuation is that the original people are not Hebrew Israelites. Because if he's one of the earliest, then what happened to the rest of the population of the people that were there before him? Because that is only in 18, look at the date. The man was born in 1847. And he was one of the earliest Hebrew Israelites. So if we went back, let's just say to the 1600s, the 1400s, there was no such thing as Hebrew Israelites in the Americas. All right? Now let us continue down. Let's go. Let us just go down some more. Not his early life, but let us look at his religious life. Crowley settled in Guthrie, Oklahoma, after his retirement from the railroad. Crowley claimed to have what? Had several visions in which he was told that blacks were descendants of the lost 10 tribes of Israel. The man had a vision, and he said that blacks, in other words, the so-called Black American, were the descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. He proceeded to create a church of God and saints of Christ, and in his regarded as a founder of what? The Black Hebrew Israelite movement. So for all you Hebrew Israelites thinking that you are aborigines to this land, no, you are not. Okay? You are Africans. And your movement started by who? The Black Hebrew Israelites started by who? This dude right here, William Saunders Crowley. And that was in the mid 1800s. In the late 1800s. I'm just saying, man. It's facts over feelings. All right? It's facts over feelings. So here I am showing y'all more information, more proof of what I'm saying. William Crowdy, or I mean, what's his name? William Saunders Crowdy, in the mid 1800s, he got a vision, okay, that blacks, so-called blacks in America, were the descendants of the lost 10 tribes of Israel. And then he first started the movement of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. So that means it wasn't here. Okay, it wasn't here. So you see how many different sectors, okay, or different sects, not sex, but sects, okay, sects, of groups that were put in place to disenfranchise the American Aborigine, take us out of our element. Another one we're going to look at is Marcus Garvey. Let us take a look at Mr. Marcus Garvey. I'm going to share my screen again. All right? I'm touching it. Everybody's going to get a little piece of this bill today. Marcus Garvey. All right? This is from Daily Telegraph. All right? And everything is in the link below, so you could do your independent research. But I'm just going to read a little bit. Black activist Marcus Garvey had a grudging admiration for what? Of the KKK. How the hell could you be, okay, an advocate for so-called black people, but you love the KKK? I mean, I don't get it. But anyway, let us read. Prominent black activist Marcus Garvey once said, "I regard the Klan, the Anglo-Saxon clubs, and white American societies, as far as the Negro is concerned, as better friends of the race than all other groups of hypocritical whites put together." Now, how are you going to make a statement like that? That you think the KKK is better friends to the so-called black man or Negro more than whites put together? And I'm just going to leave that here right there. Okay? Let us read a little bit. It seems odd that anybody of African ancestry would have praised such organizations, but Garvey often courted controversy. He believed blacks should be fiercely proud of their ancestry, albeit not to the extreme of lynching whites. Now, Mr. Garvey, for one, we are not Africans, okay? So you were part of the plan of working with the American, the American Colonization Society and the Ku Klux Klan to take our people and send them to Africa. So you ain't no hero of mine. Let's read a little more on Marcus Garvey. All right, Marcus Garvey, conflicts with Du Bois and others. On October 4th, 1916, the Daily Gleaner in Kingston published a letter written by Raphael Morgan, a Jamaican American priest of the ecumenical patriarchate, together with over a dozen other like-minded Jamaican Americans who wrote in the protest against Garvey's lectures. Garvey's views on Jamaica, they felt, were damaging to both the reputation of their homeland and its people, enumerating several objections to Garvey's stated preference for the prejudice of American whites over that of the English whites. All right. Garvey's response was published a month later. He called the letter a conspiratorial fabrication meant to undermine the success and favor he had gained while in Jamaica and in the United States. While W.E. Du Bois felt that the Black Star Line was original and promising, he added that Marcus Garvey is, without doubt, the most dangerous enemy of the Negro race in America and in the world. He is either a lunatic or a traitor. Du Bois considered Garvey's program of complete separation a capitulation to white supremacy, a tacit admission that blacks could never be equal to whites. Not noting how popular the idea was with racist thinkers and politicians. Du Bois feared that Garvey threatened the gains made by his own movement. Garvey suspected that Du Bois was prejudiced against him because he was a Caribbean native with darker skin. Du Bois once described Garvey as a little fat black man, ugly but with intelligent eyes and a big head. That's funny. Garvey called Du Bois purely and simply a white man's nigger, and a little Dutch, a little French, a little Negro, a mulatto, a monstrosity. This led to an acrimonious relationship between Garvey and the NAACP. In addition, Garvey accused Du Bois of paying conspirators to sabotage the Black Star Liner, in order to destroy his reputation. Garvey recognized the influence of the Ku Klux Klan, and after the Black Star Line was closed, sought to engage the South in his activism. Since the Union now lacked a specific program, in early 1922, he went to Atlanta to a conference with the Ku Klux Klan imperial giant Edward Young Clark, seeking to advise his organization in the South. Garvey made a number of incendiary speeches in the months leading up to that meeting. In some, he thanked the whites for Jim Crow. Garvey once stated, I regard the Klan, the Anglo-Saxon clubs, and white American societies, as far as the Negro is concerned, as better friends of the race than other groups of hypocritical whites put together. I like honesty and fair play. You may call me a Klansman if you will, but potentially every white man is a Klansman as far as the Negro is in competition with whites socially, economically, and politically is concerned, and there is no use of lying. So you put sense to everything I just read, okay? My own opinion is that Garvey was a sellout. All right, I don't know much about Du Bois, but I personally think he was a sellout as well. The point I'm trying to make is these people knew that we were not Africans. Just like how you have all these doctors today. You have all these people on YouTube today calling us Africans, telling us we're black, we this and we that. Everything else aside of who we truly are. Okay? So I'm just putting these things in perspective. Now, what are we going to do here now? I'm going to go straight into an emblem. This right here is an emblem, the British Museum. Now, I'm not making these things up. You could go research it yourself, and I put the link in the description below. An emblem of America, museum number. So go look it up. 2010-7081-586. An emblem of America. Allegorical figure shown full length, standing to left, head tilted to the right, wearing a leopard skin fringe gown, plumed headdress, quiver and beads, holding a bow in one hand, arrow in the other, landscape with firs, mountains, waterfalls, and river in the background. In an oval frame, 1801, hand-colored, mezzotint with etching. Here you go, all the way to the right. The emblem of America, an American Aborigine system. And that's in the museum in England, the British Museum, date 1798. Okay? Now, if slavery was at a height in the late 1700s, early 1800s, how come they are publishing these things, published in London, Europe, British Isles, England, and London? Why are they showing an emblem of America of an Aborigine, a dark-skinned sister with her feather and her bow and arrow? I'll wait. I'll wait. I will wait. I will wait. So at the ending of the day, my brothers and sisters, okay, the truth is out there. Now, I was gonna bring a guest on. Let me see if I could get them to come on. Give me a chance. I'm gonna call them right now and see if they could get on. If they can, they will. If not, then we'll just proceed. All right. Give me a second. Hey, peace. Are you able to get on now? Okay, that's cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you the link. All right, and what I will do is I will actually well actually I think I sent, did I send it to you in a text or an email? Well, is there any way you could connect to it? I'm trying to see if I could add you on here. I want to send it to you know what? I'm gonna send the invite as that. All right, share this. All right, I'm gonna send it to your email. What is your email again? Say that again. Chris, nobody's hearing you, so can you spell it out for me? Mm. All right, okay, I think you just came up. All right, cool. So I just sent you the invite. Okay. All right, cool. All right, yeah. All right, so brothers and sisters, all right, I just wanted to come and give you guys some information, but at this point, I always tell people like this, right? I am one of the brothers that will tell you what the situation is, what the problem is, what we are facing. But even more so, I am more focused on giving you solutions. All right. Now that we know that there is a problem, now that we know that we have been lied to, now that we know we are the original people of this land, now that we know we were here first. Yes, we all know that. Okay, everybody's still beating this dead horse that we were here first. That's why I don't get into these debates. I am doing things to rectify our situation. I am doing things to get back our birthright. Okay, now I can't speak for nobody else. I know what I'm doing. So I don't get into these debates and this whole conversation about who was here first and who wasn't. It's listen, man. The truth of the matter is, doxing people are the original people of the planet. We are the aborigines of the planet. So that kills all conversation. It kills all conversation. Now we have to break it down into the story between the Africans and the Americans. That's what this is all about. Two mothers' children. One envied the other, and one wanted to take the other's birthright. It's that simple. And nobody's talking about that because you know why? They don't know about that. So I'm telling you about it. I'm giving you the facts. Okay? So just so you know, for the record, it wasn't Caucasians who came here to enslave American Indians. Okay? It was Blackamoors and Moors that came here to enslave our people. So you have a lot of our people right now, they are caught up in the paradigm of not knowing who they are. So now they are hearing, oh, we are Moors on one end and we are not, and they're going to do paperwork, okay, putting in paperwork and declarations in courts and on file, claiming to be Moors. You are doing your ancestors a disservice, and then you are pledging allegiance to calling Noble Drew Ali your prophet a man. My brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in that. It's a trap. Because when you call yourself a Moor, you're making yourself a foreigner in your own home. Because Moors have a treaty with the United States where they get certain privileges and they are citizens of a higher class. But they're not Aborigines. Okay? And just so you know, the reason why it happened that way is when they came here. Okay, they came here trying to enslave us after they lost their reign in Spain. They came here trying to enslave us. And yes, we welcome them as brothers because they look like us. All right? And they betrayed us. And they started fighting us for our land. And we started whooping their ass. That's facts. And then what they realized they couldn't beat us, what they did, they went and got their prisoners all over the world, the Caucasian man, because they had enslaved their children. The Caucasian man is their children. The pale man is their children. That's why black, the etymology of the word black is what? Pale. That's their children. They created them. So when the pale man was in prison camps, walking on all fours in caves, what did the Moors do? They went and got them to bring them here, to help them fight their wars. And they brought a lot of these mulattoes here. Okay? Abraham Lincoln was a mulatto. George Washington was a mulatto. It wasn't Caucasian man who came here to enslave us. We're giving them too much credit. They didn't have the power. They didn't have the intellectual fortitude. Okay? The most civilized the Caucasian man has ever been is today in this day and age, because they learned everything and took everything and ripped the entire world. That is the most advanced they have ever been. So the truth of the matter is, the Moors came here to enslave our people, these Africans. They came here to fight us for what we had. And they brought in their mulattoes. And then what happened? Our men, same thing, started falling in love with their women. And now they started having rights to the land. And then what the children did, the children had more of an obligation to their fathers that was on the Caucasian side, opposed to those that was on the dark-skinned side, because those dark-skinned men in Africa enslaved their parents, which is the Caucasians. They treated them bad. They treated them like dogs. They were literally dogs. So what did they do? When they learned the ways of their fathers and they gained their armies and they got stronger, what did they do? What did they do? They went from being dogs to flipping the word dog around to become gods. And now they call themselves gods. I know they're not going to like this video, but I'm going to drop it like it's hot. Okay? Because the Africans, the Moors, whether it may have been just Moors or black Moors, whatever, they were the nobles of Europe. They were the nobles in England, Scotland, Castile, all those places. Queen Elizabeth, all right? Isabella was a mulatto. Ferdinand was a mulatto. And they came together, all right, to fight their parents who was so-called black, which was the Moors, and overthrew them. And when their parents lost their reign, what they did, they came to America to fight us for what we had. So if y'all want to go around calling yourself Moors and doing paperwork and calling yourself Moors, man, listen, you're going to end up very, 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 very disappointed. Okay? The only people with the highest authority in this land is American Aborigines, the American Indians, the original ones they call the Indians, and that's us. You feel me? Okay? So y'all better recognize, this is not a game. Y'all better recognize, okay? It's real. It's real. So Moors are the last form of defense, if you were to ask me. Moors is the last form of defense, all right? In other words, a deterrent for the American Aborigine to get them, to entrap them, okay, to sell their birthright. Because they have a treaty with Morocco. And what you don't know is Morocco is a protectorate of France. So now you're not just making yourself a citizen of Morocco, you're also making yourself a citizen of France, because France is the one that Morocco is under. No, Morocco is under France. And because of the Moors Sundry Act, the deal was made that the Moors will not and never will be treated as Negroes or American Negroes, because they knew they were different from us. They knew they were different from us. Okay, she said she didn't get the email. Okay, I did send the email. Let me see. All right, let me call her again. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, are you viewing the live by any chance? All right, this is what I'm gonna do. If you have it, you know, I'm gonna put it in the link in the description. and you could just click on that to come on. Okay. Well, it's up to you. You don't have to show your face. You could just do the audio, but you click on the link, you'll have a choice to come on and do what you feel you need to do. All right, cool. All right. So, all right. So just so you guys know, all right. So here we are. We talking about solutions. So the solution is not to go around calling yourself a Moorish American. Okay, that is not the solution, because there is no such thing as Moorish American and call yourself an Aborigine, because Moors are not Aborigines to the Americas. They are descendants of the people who came here to enslave us, to fight us for what is ours. Okay? And that's a fact. I'm talking about when the 13 colonies were set up. King George, who do you think King George was? King George wasn't a so-called white man or a pale man. No, he was a mulatto. He was a dark-skinned man. He was a dark-skinned man. Brothers and sisters, wake up, man. He brought the King James Version here. Okay, King James also was what? Another mulatto, a dark-skinned man. There were blackamoors from Great Britain. And then when the Caucasians came here as slaves, okay, when they came here as white cargo, when they fought for their independence, what do you think they was fighting for? They was fighting to free themselves from their black slave masters in Britain. Okay? They were fighting for their independence from their fathers, their black fathers in Britain, the blackamoors. That's what all this American independence is about. So y'all better put this in perspective. But the deal was between us and those Moors was the American Indian was always supposed to be treated from a government to government basis. Okay? Even some of our ancestors took part, and I'm ashamed to say, took part in the enslavement of other Africans and even Caucasians. Our ancestors did that. You feel me? So now we are paying for what some of our ancestors did that put us in the predicament that we are in today. Because number one, we got into treaties with these Africans. That's number one. And number two, we got into bed with them where they didn't force us to do anything, but we got into commerce with them by getting into the slave trade. All right? And this whole thing backfired on us. It backfired on us. That's why we are dealing with the situation we are in today. You think these Caucasians don't know their history? You think they don't know their story? You think they don't know less than just a little over 200 years ago, they were still on all fours? And that these so-called blackamoors were their slave masters? Huh? You think they don't know that? You think that Queen Elizabeth that's there right now, she's the real queen? No, she's not. She's a Farsi queen, not the real one. She's not the true royal. The true royals of Britain and Europe are dark-skinned people, and they still are. But anyway, I was trying to get a guest to come on, and for some reason, I think we may be having an issue in terms of her connecting. But I just wanted to give a few solutions. Now, I know someone had made a comment on a video. Well, Chief, I don't know why everybody. Okay, oh, she's here. All right, beautiful. I put the link below. All right, I'm gonna put it again so you could connect. All right, all you have to do is just click on that link, and you will be able to come in as a guest. So if you could do that for me, I'll introduce you, and we could make this happen. You don't have to be long. Just share some information with the family. All right. So brothers and sisters, once again, I don't just like to talk about the problems or the situations. I like to give solutions. What do we do? Because you see, everybody's talking about the problems and nobody's talking about solutions. So that's why I've taken a break. I took a long break, and I'm working on things behind the scenes. All right. So we went from we were not slaves. The majority of our ancestors were not slaves. All right. They were not slaves. They still owned their lands. That's why the further back you go into your family, you'll realize that how is that they were slaves, but yet still they they had land. They had all this land. No, it's because the land belonged to them. But yes, some of us was enslaved. Should have been clicking on it, but it's not connecting me. I don't know. I don't know why it's not connecting you. I can't say why. I have no idea. I sent it to your email. All right, you know what? Let me try something else. Let me okay, that's the same link I'm copying. Let me put it in there again. Paste. See if it's a different thing. All right, something else came up. Another link came up, so that might be it. I think I just gave you the right one. My apologies. I give you something else. You know, I give you something else. Okay, so I don't want to just talk about the problems. We're going to talk about some solutions. All right, solutions. Now that we know who we are, what do we have to do? Because we are still being put in a position where these people could come to our homes and take our children. Okay, we are still being pulled over. We're still going to jail for the minor things because our people don't have the knowledge. And even if they have the knowledge, they don't know how to apply the knowledge. So my job and my goal is to teach you how to apply it. Now, I was about to say that I saw that a sister or a brother, I'm not sure, made a comment on one of my videos. Oh, well, you're always talking about, the solutions, but you want to do it in a private setting. People got to come to a class. Well, guess what? You have to come to a class because people don't realize the concept of public and private. People don't realize that you're a slave. And I'm me personally, Chief Kalinago, Flying Eagle. I'm not going to make myself a martyr for anybody. I love myself too much. Okay? I love myself too much. So I'm not going to make myself a martyr for anybody. What does that mean? It means that I'm not going to go out here in public and just start blotting things out and make myself a target. You feel me? Because my circle is very small of those people I know that give a damn about me. Because if I ain't got a loaf of bread to eat, I know who put food in my mouth. You feel me? So I'm not going to come here on YouTube and just start just belting out information and make myself a target. I'm not going to do that. So you have to get the concept of what's called public and private. Now I'm giving public information because now you could go on YouTube, Wikipedia, and look it up. But when it comes to the private information that they don't want you to know, I'm not going to come on here and just spell it out. So you have to come to a private setting, a lecture, a class, to learn that information if you want to know how to free yourself. Don't you think if it was that easy, everybody would know it? So I'm not going to make myself a target just because y'all people in your feelings thinking that Chief Kalinago is supposed to come in here and just say, well, this is exactly what you got to do. This, that, and free yourself. You think I want the FBI coming to knock on my door telling me that I'm what? A terrorist? And then what y'all gonna say? Oh, you know what, man, that's messed up, yo. Chief was a good man, he was giving the information. It's messed up what happened to him. And nobody would raise $1 to get me out of jail. Nah, it ain't happening. I've been there with y'all before. I'm just keeping it real, and I ain't going there no more. So I'm giving y'all information, but if you want to know how to work on your indigenous standing, my email is in the link below, and you have to come to a class. Is that simple? It's period. Because now we are differentiating between public and private. This is public information, all right? But everything else is private. But however, I have a sister, I'm an intelligent sister, and she's a researcher, an Aborigine by heart, and she's been doing a lot of research. And I just want to invite her to the chat to give you some information as to how you could start tracing your lineage and some of the things that she has done in terms of putting her family tree together and give you some insights. So I'm about to introduce to you guys Golden Crown Sparrow. So the floor is yours. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love all to the tribe. How you all doing?
Well, I'm good for sure. So I'm assuming that everybody else is doing good. But how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I've been doing my research. Now, let me send a shout out to Mr. Ron Redbird 101. Uh,
Okay.
we started this journey. I think I started around the same time he did, and I
Mhm.
remember he was looking for a name. He liked my name because I went Golden Crown Sparrow.
Mhm.
So he went on and named, and I love his name. So I can finally say greetings to you, Mr. Ron Redbird, and to the rest again to the rest of the tribe. Greetings to you as well.
Mhm.
But I've been doing great. I've been doing a lot of research,
Mhm.
as you know,
Yes.
driving you crazy.
That's all good.
And I've been learning to think outside the box when it came to the research.
Mhm.
So I just been doing things where I'm not going the traditional way.
Okay.
So one thing I found out was that you can research. Remember as you explained to me about the Mormons
Mhm.
having all of our information.
Mhm.
So that is true.
Mhm.
And what I was thinking, and probably the rest of you all were thinking as well, is that we would have to go to Utah because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, oh my gosh, how are we going to ever get this information? And if we do, it's going to be a bunch of gatekeepers. Well, what I didn't realize is that they are set up with local libraries across the country. And a friend of mine who lives in Detroit, she mentioned that to me. And I was like, girl, are you kidding me? And she said, no. So sure enough, she actually researched the library near me because I'm in Chicago. And so she did the information for me.
Mhm.
And come to find out, she was correct. There is a library in my area. And so I went there, and I went there with my sister.
Mhm.
So, but before I even get into that, what happened was I was going only through one search engine, which was Ancestry.com,
Mhm.
and I kept running into a hiccup. I could only get so far, and then I was like, I know my family did some census, but I couldn't. It would never let me get as far as I needed to go. So what happened was I ended up going to archives.com. So both of these memberships are not free, but they do have free trials, like maybe 7 days or something like that. And when I went to archives, what was going on with my maternal grandmother is that they had her name spelled wrong.
Mhm.
So once I was able to navigate through that, a world of information came up through her. And I was looking for it. And I don't know what, I guess you have to sort of come in there open minded thinking you're probably going to find some slavery. You may find that you're African American, or you may not, and you may not find the Indian. So you have to be sort of realistic in that aspect.
Mhm.
But I was determined to get down to the root of it. So sure enough, as I researched her particular information. This is my maternal grandmother, who was mulatto, what they would consider mulatto. Her great grandfather was he was Caucasian.
Okay.
So come to find out, so far I haven't found any slaves slaves in the family. I haven't found any Africans in the family. But I did find some interesting things, and you all probably will as well.
Mhm.
I found out that her grandfather, great 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 grandfather, came off the Mayflower.
Mhm.
So I thought I was Chief will tell you I was so upset I didn't know what to do. But the amazing thing is I didn't find that's the only ship that I found in my family in general.
Mhm.
So still looking for the Indian, didn't find the Indian. So but I did find the Negro, I found colored on maternal and paternal. And what was also interesting as I was going, so again, archives, everybody's experience is going to be different, but for me, archives gave me the best information because what it does is you put your name in and then they'll say something may come up that says there's somebody interested in your family.
Mhm.
So it goes back a little bit further than because ancestry, I think you're just pretty much building a tree and they're going by other people that may or may not have relatives that started their tree.
Mhm.
But archives for me has been a much better experience.
Okay.
So with that being said, I went to my paternal grandfather
Mhm.
and found out that not only am I not finding any slaves, I'm in the 1700s now with him.
Mhm.
He owned a lot of property. He owned a lot of land during what they would call the slavery time. And I'm talking about the 1800s, right in the brink of what we were told was during slavery. He's
Mhm.
moving from South Carolina to Mississippi. I have family that moved to Louisiana, and they all own land. I'm thinking this is impossible. How are they owning land where we're supposed to be slaves?
Right, right, right.
So you're going to find that information as well. So anyway, the last thing is I went to the library. Sure enough, I went to the library, and you're going to meet. I met a genealogist,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing the genealogist stated to me, he was like, "Okay." Um, me and my sister went. I have a sister that's very. The good thing is if you can bring a family member with you or family members, especially those that are skeptical. And my sister is like 20%. She was 20% there. She's like, she believed the narrative that we came. Our family came off a slave ship.
Mm-hmm.
So when the gentleman asked me, um, did we have any slaves in the family? I told him right away. I said no. And he said, well, with the African Americans, and I stopped him. I said, we're not African American.
Mm-hmm.
And so my sister looked and she rolled her eyes. She was like, please don't start this. Please don't start this. And so I shut my mouth and I said, okay. So I went on with it, and he started mentioning somebody named something Burroughs. I can't think of the first. Tony Burroughs, who has a wealth of information about African American and African American history. I wasn't interested, but I said, I'll go along just to get along, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, he started breaking down how we should look through the system, and he actually referred us to a different library that had more information. So we went to that library, and sure enough, they have a website called it's the National Archives, NARA, and that one is private. You can only search some information through it. It has to either be with a family health center, which again is connected to the Mormon Church,
Mm-hmm.
or the Church of Latter-day Saints. You can go on their website, I think it's familysearch.org, and in your zip code, they'll give you the nearest location.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I sat down and put the same information that I had been putting in through all the other websites, I put my grandfather's name in, his date of birth, and the county and the state that he lived in, everything came up.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much similar.
Mm-hmm.
But the only difference was it came up Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that, I literally started crying in the library. I was blown to pieces. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, it has on there Indian.
Mm-hmm.
So that just supercharged me. And I went home and I said, you know what? I'm going to do some more research. My sister was like, so now she's 50% there. She's like, oh my God, you said it. I said, I told you we didn't come from no Africa. And again, no, not to discredit anything, because you may find some slaves in there. So far, we have not.
Mm-hmm.
But so I went home, and now at this point, the ancestors will not let me sleep. So I started thinking of other ways where I can find, and I found Indian. I had an idea. I was always told Blackfoot tribe,
Mm-hmm.
but I wasn't exactly sure if that was a tribe. So I went on and just Google. What I started doing is Googling the relative that I'm looking for. I Google their name, and then I'll put on there. I may put Indian census,
Mm-hmm.
and when I do that, you get more. I'm getting more of a hit. I'm getting more information. It's like breaking it down,
Right.
and then so and it'll take me to. I can't really say a specific website, but it'll take me to. It may be ancestry.com. Ancestry.com, which is interesting. You can actually you can filter what you want to look, which I'm sure you all know. You put your name, your date in, and the state. But there's an icon at the very bottom, and it says collect. It says catalog. I think it's either catalog or collections.
Mm-hmm.
You click on that link, and you go all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And wouldn't you know, it has 3 categories.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is Jewish American, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is African American. No, I might be getting mixed up. African American, then Jewish, and then wouldn't you know, the last one is Native American.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, let me click on this link and see what comes up. Well, the same thing, information that comes up, and at least again, for me, when I clicked on Native American, it
Mm-hmm.
filtered out some stuff that wasn't on my search engine before.
Right.
But basically, the same people that were coming up under African American, or all the information is coming up under Native American.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, you dirty dogs, you dirty dogs. But they
Right.
have to tell you the truth, but they don't have to tell it to you. They have to give you the information, but they don't have to give it to you so freely and so easily. You have to do your research.
Right.
And with that information, when I did that, I found my maternal grandfather. he was listed on an Indian registry under, I think it was not Creek. What was the other? Oh my gosh, what was the name of that?
Natchez.
Yeah, not right, Natchez.
Yeah.
Well, under that. So I looked. So what I did is I went back to Google,
Mm,
researched what Indian tribes were in, because this is in Mississippi. That's where
mm,
my family, most of my family's from Mississippi.
mm,
So of course, that came up.
mm,
And so there's actually, as you're doing your research, you're going to find out there are specific Indian census for specific tribes,
mm,
specific states.
mm.
So I was able to find a Natchez net. I'm saying it wrong. I think
Natchez,
it's not. I think it's Nachi. I think it's French,
Natchez.
Nachi. And so I found a census for that particular tribe.
Mm,
And I found, but the only thing is, it's in alphabetical order, so you can't necessarily confirm that's your family member,
mm,
but their name may or may not show up. In
mm.
my particular situation, his name did show up.
Okay.
And so I took I'm just taking print copies and taking screenshots of everything because I'm going to use this as ammunition. So again, when you're doing your research, try to think outside the box. Don't just go by, okay, let me go on Ancestry or Archives or genealogy. And at this point, Chief, I'm subscribed to like 5 different
Mm.
family search engines. So this is gonna kick my butt financially, but for me, it's worth it.
Of course.
Do the free trial, and then if you get as much information as you can during that time, and then cancel it.
Mm,
But start putting your family names, their name in the search engine, and even if you have to put Native American. I know we're not Native Americans,
mm,
but sometimes it's coming up under Native American.
mm,
So that hopefully that'll help somebody. It's been helping me out tremendously. I was able to find again
mm,
both of my maternal grandparents,
mm,
fathers on
mm,
the Indian census.
mm,
One of them, my maternal grandfather, I found him on the Freeman's. Was
mm.
it Freeman's? It was for the. I got to look at my phone, but I want to say it's Chickasaw.
Yeah.
Is it Chickasaw?
Yeah.
Yeah, Chickasaw. Because Chickasaw is under Nachi, right? Is
Yeah.
that what we're talking about? Okay, so it was under Chickasaw.
Mm.
It was under the Chickasaw census for
Okay.
Freeman.
Right.
Never heard of a Chickasaw census for Freeman.
Mm.
And if you don't, as you're so that's one of the ways, and for me it's been very beneficial. But the second way is definitely go to familyheritage.org. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And
Heritage is a good one as well. Yeah.
exactly. And you go there and then look for a local library in your area, and stuff that's not on your regular, Google search engine is going to be on there. There's
Yeah.
websites I never even heard of.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Great information. Great information.
Mhm.
So what I will do is I mean, if you have anything to add, that would be great. But I'll just, reiterate everything that you just said, plus I'll drop some more information in terms of doing research. So I really appreciate that. And the journey
Sure.
is real. The journey is real because for so long, so many of our people were taught to be, everything else except for who we are. And people don't realize that there's a reason for that. It's more than just trying to take away your identities. It's about taking away your birthright, which is the land, because the people is the land and the land is the people. People and land are synonymous. And if they could take the people out of the land by changing their identity, then hence they could make the land abandoned and, claim the land. So that's what's going on. So in order, like I tell people, so-called Black people cannot get reparations, or African Americans cannot get reparations because that has no connection to any land mass. That means you are an estate that's abandoned. You don't exist. So we have to do the research, And I tell people, you will get frustrated. You don't get frustrated. Just take your time. Ask your ancestors to guide you, not just with finding your roots, but also with an indigenous name, because we have to give them back, their Toby names. Give them back their Toby names and take back our Kunta Kente name. And realize that because they flipped it around, making us think Kunta Kente was an African slave, when the truth of the matter is Kunta Kente was, a Choctaw,
Let me say this real quick,
Yeah,
Chief.
yeah.
Another thing that you all need to keep in mind is one thing, the breadcrumbs I think our ancestors left, which in some instances can be a little frustrating,
Mm,
is our ancestors, what I like to use is recycle their names.
mhm,
Whether it was the female or the male, you'll see so many people in your family with the same exact names.
mm,
That's a good thing. So to puts you on the right path. But the bad thing is, by them all having the same name, it can be, and it's very common names. You'll find other people
Yeah.
with names as well. So it can be very frustrating. Also, when you do your search, a lot of times they have the birth year. I found my grandfather with 3 different birth years.
Mm-hmm.
The date is always the same. The month and the day is the same, but the year could be a little different. And I know they do that. I believe they did it on purpose.
Yeah.
So he was born in 1874, but they may have him 1870. Yeah, he was old.
Yeah.
So he was my grandmother's second husband. I mean, she was his second wife.
Right.
But so you may, look into that as well. Don't just go by what the year that you know, because a lot of times I think they do that.
Yeah.
Just throw it off course. They'll put the wrong birth year or the birth date or something and they may even put the wrong county if you know what county it is. But just keep being diligent, keep looking, and you'll find them. You're gonna, because the answer, they want us to find them.
Indeed.
So they're gonna help us to find them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. So well, thank you. I appreciate that, and once again, definitely much respect for you doing your due diligence. And I tell people, once you're seeking truth, the ancestors will give it to you. So you're doing that, and all the doors are opening up. So much power to you, and thanks for coming on as a guest. And I would love to have you on again sometime. Appreciate it.
All right. Peace and love. My pleasure. Peace and love, family.
All right, peace. So give thanks, man, to Golden Crown Sparrow. You know what I'm saying, for coming in as a guest. And before in closing, what I'm going to do, and thank you to you guys for the donations. I really appreciate that. It means a lot because, like I said, putting in the work and putting in the time, it's to know that people appreciate it, and not just say they appreciate it, but show that they appreciate it by reciprocating, by giving. I totally thank you for that. And as the sister was saying, just to reiterate some of the things, that some of the research that you need to do is, the Mormon church, all right? And I'll conclude by giving you all another jewel, all right? The Mormon church, they normally have like libraries or institutions where the Church of Latter-day Saints, all right? And they have free research centers where you could go and they will sit with you for an hour, 2 hours for the most, or whatever, three hours or whatever, as long as it takes, and they're gonna help you do some research that you have to subscribe to and pay for. You will get a free trial, but you may have to pay for it eventually. But when you do it at the Mormon spot, right, it's absolutely free. And as she said, ancestry.com, archives.org, I think, and you have Family Heritage. Those are some great sites that you could go there and find those research. And even on ancestry.com, if you go down towards the left side, you will see that they have 3 categories that she spoke of. There is one that says American, Native American, and if you put your family name, it comes, you most likely it will come up. But you have to decipher and do your diligence, do your true diligence, man. Do your research, all right? Talk to elders, talk to families, get names. Because like I'm telling you, our ancestors want us to find out, and they will lead you to the right path. Now, before I go, I want to give you guys another jewel and drop that for you. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, all right? And I'm going to drop something else for you. And let us go back to Google here for a second. And let's just put on the word Mormon. Mormon. Who's a Mormon? Right? A Mormon. Okay? A Mormon. Definition of Mormon. Okay, Mormonism. All right. Let's just go Mormon. All right, now it says what? Mormons. The word Mormon most often refers to members of what? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now, think about it. Why do you think the Mormons have the largest library of our ancestors' history in their institutions? I'm going to let y'all think about that for a second. Look at the word Mormon. Mormon. More. Even before you go into Mun, you have more. It is because the Moors, they came here and they knew everything about our people. They took records. Okay? So therefore, the original Mormons or Moors are what? Just like how you had the original Indians, who was who? It was us, but now you have natives. So the current Mormons are the watered down version of the real Moors that have all the records of our ancestors. I just gave y'all another jewel. Okay? Brothers and sisters, man, wake up, open up your eyes and see what's happening. Okay? Why do you think the Mormon, look about it, the Moors, who came here? Okay, who infiltrated us? The Moors. All right? Who created the census? The Moors. They have the greatest record of all the people they came and met here. Hmm? Who first started coming out talking about, oh, Aborigines? The Moors. Because they already knew they came and met Aborigines here. But at some point, the truth had to come out. The ancestors was forcing them to put the truth out. Okay? And just so y'all know, when you speak of Creek, Creek was a band. Okay? Creek was a band. And within the Creek, you had the Seminoles, you had the Chickasaws, you had different various little tribes that came together to create the Creek nation. Okay, so Creek is not just a tribe per se. All right, it was a band. Okay, that came together, and you had a lot of tribes that came together to form the Creek. Okay, so I just wanted to put that out there. So if you hear any of your family talk about that they were Creek or they Creek, then you would have to do more research to find out exactly what tribe, okay, that became part of the Creek nation. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. You feel me? Okay. So the information is out there. Eventually things are going to seep out and we'll get it. We'll get it. Don't be impatient. You know what I'm saying? We are right on time, because I always tell you, we are right on time. This is a script. It's a big play. Okay? And everything is going to fall into place. Everything is going to fall into place. It is going to fall into place. You feel me? We are right on time. So for those of us who are waking up and putting our affairs in order, then the ancestors will prepare a place for us. They will prepare a home for us. They will protect us. They will guide us. Because we are living to restore their legacy. So don't get caught up into this, we are Moors, we ain't Moors. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of us may have a lot of Moorish ancestry in us because of the mixing. A lot of us may have even Caucasian ancestry in us because of the mix. But mind you, we were Americans first. It wasn't because we were Africans and became Americans. No, we were Americans who got infiltrated by Africans. Okay? That's the truth. Can you handle the truth? So with that being said, I am giving y'all some solutions in terms of searching stuff and doing things and getting your indigenous standing on point. Certain things I cannot talk, just blatantly tell you in the public, because now you have to start learning the difference between public and private. And like I told y'all before, I'm not going to make myself a target because people think I got to come on here and tell you everything. I don't have to do that. But in a private setting, I'm able to teach you certain things because now it's private. I'm not out here trying to take the United States slaves away from them. You see, y'all got to get it. Most of these people are Negroes and African Americans and Black people. They're slaves. Now, they could hate this video if they want, but they're slaves and they don't realize that. So I'm not going to be on here making an attempt to take the slaves off of the plantation from the United States. And next thing you know, Chief Kalinago is a target. I'm not going to do that because people want to get mad that I talk about you got to come to a private class. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make myself a target. So like I said, my email is in the link below. If you want the information, you want to be part of the class, all right? All right, there is a donation that's required to get the information because it's a lot of work. Just literally where I'm at right now, I'm not going to say the location where I'm at right now, but where I'm at right now, I just came back in yesterday morning, and I went 2 days. I spent 2 days in the Library of Congress doing research and putting in work and doing all this stuff. How many of you guys have the time to do this? So I'm going to do the research for you, find out the ways on how you could get your indigenous standing done. Okay? So that would be done in a private setting. That is the purpose of doing all this. But I'm not going to come here in a video and say it and next thing make myself a target. I'm not going to do that. Nope. You have seen what happened to many of those who came before me trying to save black people who don't want to be saved. And I ain't going to do it. And I'm not going to apologize for that. Like I told y'all before, if y'all looking for a fake brother or one who don't keep it real, man, y'all got the wrong channel. Because I keep it real. Because I don't owe nobody nothing. You feel me? So I'm working on behalf of my ancestors. I'm asking them to use me as a guide, as a vessel, to teach those who want to learn, to assist those who are ready to make that move. And that's what I'm here for. That's it. But I could only do that in a private setting. I'm not going to do it in public. I can't do that. I'm not going to do that because that's not what they want me to do. All right. I got too much work to do to make myself a target. So that will be done in a private setting. Okay. So with that being said, I just wanted to come out here and give you guys some information. Thank you so much for being a part of the build. I'm not sure when I'll do another video because I have too much to do. On Tuesday or Wednesday, I may have to go back to DC to do some work because I have to go back to the Library of Congress and get some things done. But there is a process for the indigenous standing. Okay, it's literally, the class is, I would say, within 60 to 90 days, your process could be complete. All right, where you are literally, your indigenous standing will be in place in at least 95% of what you need to do. We could get that done within about 60 days. I would say 45 to 60 to 90 days. All right, teach you the whole process, because I tell people I don't want to fish for you, because if I fish for you, that means I'm doing you a disservice, meaning that you won't be able to eat tomorrow. Because what if something happened to me? How are you going to feed yourself? So what I want to do is I want to teach you how to fish, how to do it, how to do everything, so that if something does happen, then you're able to pass it on. You see, I'm not selfish. I love to teach. I love to share. That's just in my nature. Okay? So that's what I'm here to do. That's it. So once again, I thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. This was a great build. You know, I love what I do, man. I love what I do. So my email is in the link below for those of you, like I said, who are ready, you know, to make the move in terms of, you know, stepping into your indigenous standing. And one thing I got to say before I go is this. Indigenous standing and being an Aborigine is more than just talking about it. You see, talking about it is good, but how many of y'all are actually living the life? Making an attempt to eat more natural foods, okay? Making an attempt to raise your vibration. Stop calling our women bitches. Stop calling our men niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at our people as the wholesome, loving, good people that we are, with potential. The fathers and mothers of civilization. That's us. And unless you could see you can't see yourself as that, then you are not moving in the right direction. You see, me, whenever I step in the public, there is no question as to who this man is. They never take me for a Negro or a black man or an African American, because when they see me, everything is based on perception and assumption. And so before I open up my mouth, they know that I'm an Indian, because I always have my feathers. I always have some type of indigenous attire. So how do you differentiate yourself from the so-called black man and the so-called black woman or the so-called African American in the street? Is by your presence. When you see a so-called Jew, you could tell it's a Jew. When you see a so-called Arab, you could tell it's an Arab. When you see an Asian, you could tell it's an Asian. So when they see me, they're not going to assume that I'm black or African American. They see American Indian. Now, whether they're surprised or not, I don't care about that. But I know for sure they don't think that I'm black. They don't think that I'm African American. So you see, being indigenous or being an American Aborigine is more than just saying it. Are you living the life? That is the question. Do you honor your ancestors? That is the question. So it's more than just talking about it. It's about living it. It has to become your livelihood. It has to be second nature. I never leave my house without my feathers. Never. To me, I feel naked when I don't have it. Okay? And we all still growing. We are all growing. And it's never too late to start. All right? You know, hey, start with one feather. You know, ask the ancestors to give you an indigenous name. You will get it. It will come to you. You don't have to try too hard. They will give it to you. Because they gave it to me and it came easy. But this movement, it has to be in your heart. It has to be in your mind and your heart. Okay? And once you are there, they will give you everything that you need. You will not have a need or a want. They will provide. Trust me. I could tell you I'm a living testament of that. I'm in such a happy place right now. It's like there is so much turmoil going on around and I don't even see it. I don't even feel it because my ancestors are protecting me from all that. Okay? I tell people, I am here to blind you to evil, but open up your eyes to what's right. I'm going to repeat that. I am here to blind you to evil so that you don't engage in the lower vibrations and the frequencies. But I am here to open up your eyes to the light so that you can walk in righteousness. That's my job. That's my purpose. And like I said, I'm not going to do videos all the time, but when I do, you're going to appreciate it because it's coming from the heart. All right. And I'm coming to give you some real information. All right. So with that being said, I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your continuation. My email is in the link below for those of you who want to continue privately, you know, right, in terms of the assistance that you need. And let's get this thing done. All right. Because the slavery went from the plantation onto the paper. So how do you have to do it? You have to free yourself on paper, my brothers and sisters. You have to free yourself with the paper because you don't have an army to free yourself. So how do you do it? You do it the same way they did it to you on paper. You free yourself that way. It is not difficult. It is not hard. It's a process. There has to be some research. You have to do some studying and you have to be willing to learn the information, to apply the information. Once you're willing to do that, once you're willing to give up the TV, once you're willing to give up all the BS, the distraction, and get your affairs in order and be serious about this, then you are ready. Until then, if your life is about watching TV, R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, all these distractions, if that's what you're about, Jenny, you're not ready. You're not ready. Period. Okay? You're not ready. Oh, work. Of course you got to work. If you don't work, how are you going to pay your bills? If you don't work, how are you going to eat food? If you don't work, how are you going to donate to me to assist you? It ain't free. So you got to work. What I'm doing here is work. I'm working. When you think I go to the Library of Congress for 2 days, you know what I'm saying? From the moment they open in the morning until they close 9:30 at night, I'm studying on your behalf. That's work. So who's going to pay me for that? So we all have to work. You see, we have to realize that we have to come together and look out for each other. The things that I'm able to do, you may not be able to do, I'm giving to you. So you have to reciprocate. You feel what I'm saying? So yes, you have to work. You got to pay your bills. But at the end of the day, the process that we are teaching you in that private setting is how to get out of the plantation where you don't have to work anymore. But in the meantime, yes, you have to work because you have things to pay for. All your paperwork and all the process that you have to do, all their fees, they have to be paid for. So of course you have to work, fam. Yes, I mean, shoot, get 2-3 jobs so that you could get off the plantation. And that's what I tell people. Work in the public, work as much as you can, 2-3 jobs, all right? And use that fiat currency because it's not real anyway to do something real, which is to work on your indigenous standing. Okay? That is the key and that is the goal because it's all about public and private. It's all about debtors and creditors. All right? And I want to teach you guys how to be creditors and I want to teach you guys how to get your indigenous standing. and put that together, and what? All of a sudden, you're a king or a queen in your own land. That is the conclusion. All right? So with that being said, I appreciate love you guys, and I thank you for tuning in, and I do hope that you have a great continuation. And like I said, my email is in the link below. For those of you who send emails, I get so many of them. It takes a little time for me to get back to everybody, but I always get back to them. So please, just don't be mad if you send me an email and you haven't heard from me in a week or so or 7 days. It's because I get so many of them. I respond to those emails, on a first come, first basis. All right. So I go through the list and return those emails. Now, when you send an email, if you may, you could also put your phone number so it'll be easier for me to get in touch with you. All right. Because I always request that anyway. You feel me? So at the end of the day, if you could just do that, if you send a correspondence, put in a number, and then I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and we'll go through the whole process. I'll let you know from step A to Z, and we'll put this together and make it happen. All right? But at the end of the day, man, this is home. We are home. We ain't got nowhere else to go. This is ours. The entire America is ours. You feel me? And we got a lot of work to do because we have to reclaim our birthright. It's ours. It belongs to us. All right? And everybody else is guests in our home. And all our guests are actually living the American dream except the original people of the land. That doesn't make sense. All right. And, take your time, do some, like I said, take your time. If you go through the video, listen to what, Golden Crown Sparrow said in terms of doing research and searching your genealogy. There's ways, fam. There's ways. Don't get frustrated. All right. It will come to you. All right. It will come to you. Okay. And as long as you could get a grandmother, a granduncle, a grand aunt, somebody to verify who you are and you are that you say you are, then that's all you need. 2 witnesses. All right. And you do your family tree and you make it happen. All those things is part of the process that we are teaching people. All right. So just wanted to drop that down for you guys. Okay. I'm starting to teach my first food. That's for real. All right. All right, guys. So have yourself a great continuation. I'm about to end this because I know people have work and, got to get the children to bed and everything. So I myself, I have some work to do. So I'm going to conclude this video and we will talk soon. Peace, love, harmony, and light. And for all those of you who donated to the super chat, thank you. It meant a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you and have a good one. Peace.